All right, hello everybody, and welcome back to another 5K tennis racket prize and cash giveaway that involves predicting the finalists for the French Open and the winners of the title, and as well selecting fantasy teams. So I'm going to do a quick video and kind of run through the rules on how this works, and hopefully it won't take too much of your time. You do not have to play both competitions. However, if you only play for the tennis racket or the cash value thereof, and it is a tie between you and another viewer, the fantasy team breaks the tie. That has happened before. Again, you don't have to play the fantasy team if you don't want to break everything down and come together with those respective teams. But if you tie and someone has a team and you don't, then that person will win. Okay? The only thing you have to do to enter is to be subscribed. That's it. So make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit a like button, and thanks to all of you that reached out to me the past couple of days to ask if I was going to do this again. I was a little, kind of unsure, but it looks like a lot of you still want me to do this for all of you. By the way, Carla and I play as well. She's upstairs packing. We're going to a couple of our students and our children's tennis tournament in Mississippi this weekend. What's up, Ryan Mason? We'll see you this weekend. Just be subscribed. That's it, and you qualify. The top two winners on the fantasy team competition, so not just one winner on the fantasy teams, the top two winners will get to choose the same prize, whichever you choose, and let's start with that. So for the fantasy team competition, the prizes are going to be your choice of the following. The top two competitors can choose one of these. Either $40 US, I can send it to you in a secure way, PayPal, Venmo, cashier's check, whatever works for you. Or 4 sets of YTech strings. YTech is a wonderful stringing company, and I'm friends with the owner of the company, Ivor Savage. Much love to you. So 4 sets of YTech strings, which is probably about a $60 value, or a 5K tennis shirt. This one's kind of an old one, but something similar to this. It says "Let's Go" on the back, or like a 5K tennis sweatshirt, and you can get those or see. And there's a lot more merchandise as well, and you can see that at Teespring. Anyway, so your choice of any one of those items for the top two finishers, okay? Any selections, by the way, that you put for your teams, or if you're just playing for the tennis racket, you need to put them in the comment section of this video. Why? So everyone can see them. The first couple of years I did this, some people would send it to us on Facebook Messenger, some people on Instagram Messenger, some people on email, and some of the people that only put them here were wondering what their competitors' teams or selections were. So that is a rule. Make sure if you want to play that you put your selections for your fantasy teams and your finalists and winners on this video, okay? Now, for the big prize is the easiest game to play in terms of how much work you have to put into it. So what I'm going to do for this French Open for the biggest prize is I'm either going to buy the winner a brand new tennis racket of their choice. So if you want a brand new Babolat Pure Aero, or you want a brand new, Yonex V-Core 98, okay, I'll get that for you. Or the cash value that I would pay based upon being a coach with some networks and so forth. Generally, I can get any new racket for about $150. So if you want a new racket that's $220, $230 to you, okay, that's fine. I'll get that racket for you. But if you don't play at all and you're just a fan or whatever, there's nothing wrong with that, I will send you in a secure way $150 US. Okay? No problems, no questions asked. All right? So let's start with the rules for the easiest game to play, which is the big one, which is the tennis racket or the cash value thereof giveaway. The only thing you have to do is to predict the men's finalists and the women's finalists and both winners. If you make all 6 of those selections, men's finalists, women's finalists, and both winners, you'll win the tennis racket. You can ask Matt Kane. Arvish Jagemeyer, I think, has won it out there. There's a couple more of you that have won rackets, and I didn't write that here. It's definitely possible, and especially at the French, because you're basically given 2 gimmies with Nadal in the final and potentially Nadal winning it. It's happened to us for a couple years in a row. But anyway, predict the men's finalists, the women's finalists, and both winners. If you get those right, I will send you a brand new tennis racket in the box, direct from wherever, Tennis Warehouse, whatever, or I will send you $150 cash. That's it. Remember though, if you don't play fantasy and someone ties you and someone else does, then you'll lose. So even if you don't have the time to select a fantasy team, I would just pencil whip one and just put it in comments. And if there's errors or something, I can just take out the players that don't work. Anyway, moving forward to the fantasy team, I urge you to listen carefully to these fantasy team rules. They're really quite simple. If you have any questions about how this game is played, please contact me in comments, and I will get back to you. I always check them. At least I try to. It's best to have any questions that you have answered before the first ball is struck for the French Open. So if match number 1 on Chatrier is, Barty or whatever, and she serves the first ball, all the selections lock, and that goes for the tennis racket giveaway competition as well. It's best to get the questions out now instead of waiting and not getting the errors fixed. It happens every year. People play it and they make mistakes, and then they realize, 2 matches in that they got players that don't work. So listen to this. Fantasy team competitions will consist of 9 men and 9 women. So a total of 18 players, 9 men, 9 women. Players on each team that are seeded in the tournament, not ranked in the world. We ran into this with Felix Auger-Aliassime one year. He was ranked 21 in the world, but he was seeded 19, and a lot of people selected him thinking he was a 2-point pick, but he was a 1-point pick. So sorry if I'm jumping ahead, but I'll start over. Players seeded inside the top 20, 1 to 20, okay, are worth 1 point per match win. Players seeded outside of the top 20 are worth 2 points per match win. On your team of 9 men and 9 women, you must select one and only one wild card or qualifier. That player is worth 3 points, okay? Players seated inside the top 20, 1 point per match win. Players seated outside the top 20, 2 points per match win. And your wild card or qualifier that everyone must pick is worth 3 points each. On each team that you select, you can only have a maximum of 4 players that are seated inside of the top 20, okay? You can have as many players that you want seated outside of the top 20, but you must have a qualifier or a wild card in there. So some of the best champions at this game that have won, they generally pick 7 or 8 unseeded players, or maybe they pick Nadal just as their 1-seeded player and a bunch of other dirt ballers that are outside of the top 20, because they're getting more points per match win than a bunch of 1-point wins going across. So a lot of time, the people that go heavier on their 2-point picks end up getting a pretty big lead. But that's a strategical question, and that's up to you. Sometimes it does not work that way. So a total of 18 players, 1 on each team, must be a wild card or qualifier in your 9 spot, and the other 8 players outside of those on each team, again, match 4, seated inside the top 20, okay? Don't forget a couple of things. Don't get too wrapped up into 1-point players. That will hurt you, at least in my opinion. Now, I have seen people win that went, Nadal, Djokovic, and Federer, in their prime or whatever, and they got all the way to the semis, but that's not the way these days. So we'll see. I will update all scores once the first ball has been struck at the end of our normal 5K tennis shows, at least during the French Open. So this is kind of the video to put your picks in, to ask questions, and that we'll debate and, be like, oh, I got you. We have a lot of good comments on these shows on this type of video, because someone is really, trying to hunt you down for a win so they can win, and so it really gets fun and entertaining, especially on the fantasy team side, because a lot of these diehard fantasy players are always, hoping that, this guy 1,000, I just brought him up, or Dusan Dramakanin, they're hoping that this guy loses that player, and anyway, it's a fun time. All right, so at the end of the tournament, I will tally all the scores, and the top 2 competitors in the fantasy team competition will win again, your choice of the prizes mentioned at the beginning of this video. And I will also keep track of players and points throughout the tournament. And again, I will update everyone's scores, or at least the top leaderboard. So if there's 20 people playing, I usually say the top 5 are those in contention. But don't rule yourself out if I'm not mentioning you at the beginning, because a lot of the time people that are kind of in the back of the pack with 2-point players, they catch up when other people have lost their ones, and vice versa. It depends on how it works. So anyway, thanks so much for watching this video. It's really a fun game. We started this game to hopefully share our passion with following the game with you. So hey, play it. It's fun. At least play the tennis racket giveaway. Just subscribe to do it, and the best of luck to all of you. But again, it's really quite a fun time, and I'll keep track of all the scores, and we'll go from there. So much luck, and if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask, and we will see you, at least on this type of thread, when the first ball is struck at the French Open. Don't forget to get your questions in. See you later. Let's go. Come on. And by the way, myself and Carla always plan to win. We don't win our own prizes. If Carla and I beat you, which we plan to do, let's go. Come on. We will not win our own prizes. Prizes. So let's say I finish first and Carla second. I'm talking smack now. Then 3 and 4 would win. But anyway, that's never happened. Usually you guys beat us. So anyway, best of luck to all of you. Take care.